Welcome to another day at the old OK Corral. I dug out the mower. It's time to go cut grass. And among everything else I'm busy doing, grass is up, snow is gone, the grass is here, it's time to cut. Got to dig out the mower, grease up the tractor, make sure everything's going around and around and the up and downers are going up and down. So gonna try to show you this day or this part of what's going on, and just stay tuned. We're gonna walk you through a little bit of getting tractor ready. Kind of in a jam. The weather suddenly got better, and so you caught me unprepared. As they say in the hunting world, caught me with my pants down. So here we go. I'm just kind of having to go through here and figure out if I can straighten this guide bar out at all. It's bent, and I'm a little bit tweaked because actually at myself, not having done this when I bent it, I didn't take care of it. And if it was somebody else that did that, I'd be pissed off, but it was me, and so I'm still pissed off at me. Maybe this will work, and maybe I'll do something even worse. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to straighten this bar that's underneath this shroud, and to do it right, I should really take the whole shroud out. Don't have time to take the shroud off because all these bolts could be rusty and all corroded, and then I could break bolts off, then that takes more time. So I'm just taking a minute to try to undo what I did when I hit that gate post. I've just done that. Now I'm gonna flip this back up, see how I did. And you can see here it's not perfectly straight, but it's come back a long way, and it can't come back anymore because the shroud would keep it from happening, and I could rip the shroud. So right now I'm going to just call this good enough to operate. When I was a young lad, I was 18, and I got mentored by a couple of fellers, a couple of identical twins. They were 28, and they stayed out the homestead for the winter. And I remember Robin saying, whenever I'd say good enough, he said he had this old Zen master, and he would say, good enough is not good enough. I've never forgot that, and even though I find myself saying good enough a lot, when I say that, I remember Robin, and he's right. Good enough is not good enough, especially not for the machinist. But usually for a farmer, right? Bingo. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I've checked the oils. I've got to probably grease it still, but what I'm going to do right now is turn the power takeoff on and see if the go-rounders go round and round. Okay, and so stand back. This thing is going to twirl at a phenomenal rate of speed, so look out, because the crap's going to fly. Okay, we have a battery issue. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to drag the battery charger out here. Pull the hood off of this little thing. It's been patched a few times. Various people that have learned to drive. This is the product of a steep learning curve right here. It's been patched several times. None of them were me, but that doesn't matter. I'm gonna just leave the hood sitting right where it is. I'm gonna go in here carefully and blow this it looks like this part of it is pretty good. I must have blown it out. Okay, and then right up in here, I'm gonna take a look right in here. This is where the hay seeds are, and that in here, fuses and resistors are up in there. That's really important. Let it blow. This happens several times a year. I like to refer to this as the godliness factor. You've heard the old saying, cleanliness is next to godliness. If you ain't clean and it catches fire, you're gonna be possibly using expletives in there. Best way to keep your temper down and keep your tractor running smooth is keep it clean, keep it cool, keep it breathing properly. And even though equipment like this has a radiator, a really significant portion of cooling of an engine is externally from just transferring heat. And so when there's grime and dirt on an engine, it won't run as cool. It's gonna be working hard. This tractor's gonna be running right up against the red line for days. It needs every little advantage it can get. Right now, let me see if it'll start. And if it starts, I'm gonna see about getting the go-rounders go around. Crank this thing up to 40 amp. And let's put this little thing back here. My God, this has been jury rigged a time or three, huh? Just hanging in there. Anybody out there got an extra Alice Chalmers front hood piece? Send it. And a fender.
That was awesome.
Okay, so in simple terms, that's what I call the go-rounders. You know, the pistons go up and down and hydraulic cylinders go back and forth and up and down. And what we gotta have here is we gotta have all the back and forthers and the up and downers and the go-rounders all doing the right thing at the right time. But these things are so vicious that they're fearsome. They're fearsome. I have run through survey pipes. It doesn't even dull the cutters to cut off a survey pipe. A regular fence post, it'll cut off a regular fence post. It'll do a little damage to the cutter. One time we ran into a backhoe bucket that was out in somebody's field, and that broke one of the heads off. That was really a bad breakdown, but it cut this far into the backhoe bucket before it destroyed itself. You don't want to get your leg or your pet pheasant's leg or your pet bunny's leg anywhere near this machine. It's intended to do some work. It's intended to cut grass, and it doesn't like to say no. Everything is freed up. I'm gonna take this little baby, I'm gonna sharpen it a little bit, then I'm gonna take it out over here to the homestead and try it out. So stay tuned, gotta get a grinder. For the most part, these things just need a little touch up. Usually like to start the season off using some older cutters because first few rounds in any field have trash in them. And then once, especially for second cutting, I'll put new cutters in it. But there's no sense trashing a brand new cutter right off the bat. So if you think about it, most people have used a weed whacker out in their lawn or their yard. And you know how a string is kind of rounded, but it just hits hard enough and fast enough to cut the grass. These blades will cut even if they're dull, but the amount of horsepower it requires from being fairly dull to sharp is almost 50%. It's a significant amount of horsepower and fuel you're using up just by having dull cutters. So I've learned over the years, sharpen them often, keep them really sharp, and everything goes better. So, a lot of people don't probably even know what this is a scythe. It's been cutting grass across the world for centuries, right? That's a old style grass cutter, and you swing your hips like yay and you cut the grass, right? That's a scythe. And probably a lot of people in what I like to call Erbia know all about the weed eater, right? In fact, it's even called a weed eater brand here. So this thing here cuts the grass on suburban yards for wannabe urban farmers, right? Well, that thing right there probably does the work of 1,000 of these. It's serious. There's a progression of cutters, and now they got even more modern ones. And you know what? I hear that they're even making all this obsolete, because with no more need to cut grass and feed it to cows, because they're making fake hamburger. Probably won't even have to do this someday. Okay, got that done. Well, grease. One more thing, gotta do the grease. Out for wow. Oh, there it comes. There's the grease coming out right there. Wheel bearing. Okay, and there's one more grease fitting. Okay. Hang tight, folks. Bear with me. Probably one last little thing I got to do here is lubricate all these little pins, all these little areas that need a little grease. This little thing here moves. All the little parts that move deserve a little bit of love and attention, right? Just a tiny little bit. The last thing, I'm coming to that side, is going to be clutch for the power takeoff. That little slidey thing here, if it doesn't slide right, it's really aggravating. So I like to make sure those little parts are working very well. Check this out. Yeah, that gets used lots of times a day right there. Want to make sure that's moving, because if you need to kick that mower out, you hit somebody, you hit something, you need to disengage it. That's it right there. You want to be able to just pop that thing out in an instant. That just becomes a reflex. So most farmers is shut her down. So that's it. Pretty much ready to go try it out. And if everything goes well, we're going to load this thing up on a truck and take it down, and we're going to get serious about laying that grass down. Stand by, come along, stay tuned. We'll make it happen. So it looks like we've got the mower good for another season. Looks like I'm good for another season. We're going to load this thing up on a trailer. We're going to take this down to the lowlands where the grass is more ready and ripe. And we're going to start laying some grass down. Thank you for being along on this part of the ride, and get ready for the next leg of our adventure together.